Good evening, everybody. How is everybody in King Dolphin land? I hope everybody is doing well, and that if you had snow, it wasn't that bad, and just staying safe. Welcome, welcome all. Tonight, we once again have Antiderivative Jill, the amazing communications officer for Clobbering Times, the Saturday Night Star Trek show, and she's also one of the magnificent wrenches for Overlord DVD. Hail DVD.
Hail
Now,
DVD.
if you like what we're doing here, please like and subscribe to the channel. If you like what we're doing here, let's begin by welcoming all our wonderful chatters. We have the amazing and early Legatus Legionai, and he's already put a question out there. We've got Fez for Hire, John Rendell. We've got Captain Spire. We've got, and I'm not going to do it, Snortapoopus Cuber. And of course, my other half, my better half, and the amazing wrench who's here, Sandra. Glad to have you all here. And as people come on, um, we will welcome you to the chat. So we're going to. There's so much when we discussed things, we we could have gone in millions of different directions, and we also foresee that this is probably going to be kind of a mini series. Again, we're not doing episode reviews unless it is significant enough an episode that it's worth a discussion. And the reason we don't want to do that is we we don't want to steal Raquel's thunder when they start discussing uh, Deep Space Deep Space Nine later on in the year. So tonight we're going to tackle Worf, um, the Watt, and the Dominion. And if we have time, we're also going to talk about what could have been the the beginning episode for a season 8. And if you've ever seen the YouTube documentary called "What We Left Behind," uh, done by Ira Stephen Bear, you'll know what we're talking about. So, without further ado, welcome, Antiderivative Jill.
Yes, hello, everyone.
How's your uh, how's it been since we last chatted?
Oh, it's been quite the couple days. I just watched season 6 and 7, and I had a wonderful time doing that.
Oh, good. Made it through all the episodes, huh? There was
Yeah, I
9.
actually, well, most of them. I did skip a couple.
Yeah. There were not a bad one. I don't think there were some that didn't
Well,
seem didn't seem to flow with the general arc.
right.
Yeah, and
There,
those I
there's, there's, there's a couple that are just they don't fit, like you
yeah
said.
yeah. But and they did things like add Vic Fontaine, which I thought was a nice touch.
Yeah, sure. Well, we have precedents for a hologram going sentient,
Mm-hmm.
and before
Yep. Yeah.
Moriarty did, and
Moriarty.
so now we
Yes.
have Vic,
Yep.
and then in Voyager we get
The hologram.
a
The
whole
doc.
Doctor.
Yep.
It's a great progression on how that form of life evolves.
Yes, definitely. So all right. So again, we decided to start with talking about Worf. I think that it was great that they put him in there. I think it was. I don't, not that DS9 needed
Mm.
a big name next generation person, but if they had to, let it be Worf.
Yeah, Worf was a perfect addition, I think, too.
Mm-hmm. So, Jill, what are your thoughts on what they did with adding Worf?
Well, the in-universe answer to Worf, it made sense because at that time, in Generations, uh, we we lost the Enterprise D due
Mm-hmm.
to some pretty bad circumstances with the Klingons, and that left Worf without a commission. So I don't know. Do you know what he was doing in between this time
Oh, he was.
and
He went to a Klingon monastery. I don't think it was Borath, but he went to a Klingon monastery to do some studying.
okay, that's pretty good jumping off point for Cisco to ask for his help. Because he's having trouble with the Klingons and the Cardassians are already getting into
Mm-hmm.
drama. So he
Exactly.
needed.
Yeah, that was a good. That was a good reason to bring him in. I mean, you got Klingons that suddenly appear out of nowhere. You don't know why they're here. I
Mm-mm.
mean, their reason is they're here to protect a wormhole against the Dominion. Okay, but then
But do
that does
Klingons really do stuff like that?
no, no. They have
Uh,
their own subterfuge. They have their own agendas.
right, right. They have their own politics, and they're
Yep.
usually pretty self-contained. And
Yes.
um, and since they did decide to bring them in, I think Curzon said that the best way to help a Klingon is to have another Klingon, is with another
Exactly.
Klingon. So that's where Cisco gets the idea.
Yep. And yeah, and heck, the Klingon a Klingon vessel goes chases after Cassidy's ship. The Defiant stops them, and the pseudo Martok comes over and takes care of, does some Klingon justice
Oh yeah.
for failing to board, for being stopped by Cisco.
Oh, and at this point, this Martok is a changeling, um, but we don't know that yet.
Yeah, we don't know it. It was. Um, I think it. I think it was, because why would
Or
Martok suddenly up and kill
but
somebody?
that's a good question. I don't know exactly which point they kidnap Martok.
Yeah, it's never
That's a
been
good question.
it. Yeah, it is. It is never been stated that when Martok was replaced. Um, but you can always speculate that he was done before they visit um, Deep Space Nine, because my thought is you just killed one of your soldiers for for failing, but come on, it was not exactly a good order in the first place. Yeah, I agree, Snort. They left it very open for conjecture when it could have been done.
Yeah, I can't wait to go through each single episode
Mm-hmm.
on Clobby's channel, and
Yeah,
maybe I'll have a clearer picture of that.
yeah, definitely. So we have Klingons on the station. Klingons beating up poor Garrick. We've got quiet Klingons, as Quark said at his at the bar.
All right, he was counting the decibels.
Yes, he was counting the decibels, and
And
then you have Martok's son decide he wants to use Garrick as a punching bag.
Yeah, and that's another hint that there's something wrong. He knows that Klingons are supposed to be loud,
Mhm.
so that they're not.
Exactly.
And something's going down.
Yep. So Cisco is in a quandary. Fortunately, he's got Dax there, who has dealt with Klingons before in both personas, Curzon and Jodzia. Who can forget Blood Oath?
Right, that was a very good episode.
Yeah.
She saves at least one of the Klingons in
Yep.
that episode.
Core.
Yes.
Yeah. All three of them. All three of them were amazing in that episode. But
Absolutely.
yeah. So she gives them the advice: you got to bring in a Klingon. And who do you bring?
You bring in Worf.
You bring in Worf.
And I like how Worf, the Defiant is technically Cisco's ship, but most of the time we see Worf in command.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, heck, he lives on board for quite some time because he just can't get used to the station.
Yeah, and that works out.
Yeah.
For the story and for his character.
Yes, definitely. Okay, so we got Worf in there. He decides to use his own way to get more information. We've got he's trying to get information on what the heck the Klingons are doing there. Martok, of course, is being closed-mouthed about it, and to the point where Worf knocks out his son, takes his blade, and just to get Martok's attention, and still doesn't get anything. And then he goes to a friend of the House of Mold to get more information as to why the heck they're there. And Snoopy doesn't like Snoopy is not liking the fact that Martok is being quiet. So. I like that one. The station still probably smells like Cardassian to him. Good one, Snort. Hail, Andy Masterson. Welcome aboard.
Hi, Andy Masterson.
That's a good Kim Cardassian. One must wonder. And yeah, he doesn't like Klingons. So.
Neither do Tribbles.
Neither do Tribbles, yes. The great Tribble hunt. We'll probably be talking about that when we go into that awesome episode. So, okay, so he goes to a friend, again, someone who was helped by Worf's father, Moog, and then he brings out the real reason that they're there. What did you think of that?
Remind me where in the story this is.
This
the
is
real reason that they're there.
This is still like at the toward the beginning of Worf's presence.
Right. Okay. So this is still around season 4 and 5.
Yeah. This is the Way of the Warrior.
The Way of the Warrior. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, this is
Oh, okay, right.
yeah. Martok Martok isn't saying anything, so he goes to a friend of the House of Moog, and after drinking massive amounts of blood wine, he gets the real reason, which is they're going
Yeah,
to
they're gonna
invade.
they're gonna fight Cardassia. Yes,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
They want to attack Cardassia because they've heard about a coup there, and they believe that Cardassia has been taken over by the founders.
Yeah.
So they don't have any proof though. So the Federation thinks it's a bad idea, and they
Yeah.
say that if the Klingons attack Cardassia, that will jeopardize their treaty, the
Hmm.
Khitomer.
Exactly.
Okay,
And
yeah, now I know where you're.
right. And then the station crew was pretty much told hands off. This is not their concern. So
Mhm.
they try some subterfuge to get them to get word to the Cardassians.
Oh yeah, because at this point the Federation is trying to keep the peace. They're trying to make everybody, that stop the fight, but you can't really stop the Klingons from doing what they want to do.
No,
So,
they're gonna do what they want to do,
but
as you said. Um, I like
but
what
they're itching.
what Snort says. Cardassians versus Kardashians.
One is a repulsive reptilian, and the other is just another alien species in Star Trek.
uh, you're out to collect a lot of salmon tonight, aren't you, Snort?
Yes, everybody give Snortopoopas lots and lots of salmon.
Yep. I think he
Um,
also has
re-
he also has a hankering for sushi. I know that for sure.
oh, who doesn't? Sushi's best.
Hmm. Yeah. So they decide to get their resident spy to get word to Car- Cardassia, and who else? Of course, who they talk? Does he talk?
Garrett.
Garrick, and of course he. It doesn't take him long to do put two and two together.
Yeah, but I mean they're kind of worried though that by doing this they're gonna end up in a war with the Klingons.
Mm-hmm.
So they try to be as neutral as they can, but
Right.
but the Defiant ends up being forced to attack
Mm-hmm.
the Klingons to save the Cardassians,
Yep.
and that's it. And no more Khitomer Accords now, right?
No more Kittimer cards. And then who should come to the station to talk to a certain Klingon? We have Galron. We have Galron coming and telling Worf he doesn't have any business on Deep Space Nine or wearing a Federation uniform.
Oh man, is this the part where he takes away his honor again and
Yeah,
Worf loses it again?
this time he loses it all because he not only loses his honor, but he loses all their property and assets.
Oh my god, everything.
Yep.
Oh right, okay, that's harsh.
Yeah. Yep.
But in my notes here, I actually have a really good scene I copied down about from Quark and Garrick when they're talking about root beer,
Mm-hmm.
and they say that it's vile, that it's bubbly and cloying
Yeah.
and happy, just
Mm-hmm.
like the Federation.
Yeah.
And Quark says, "But it's really frightening. If you drink enough of it, you begin to like it." And Garrick
Exactly.
says, "It's insidious, just like the Federation."
Yep. That was definitely a good quote. Good
Yeah.
quote. So Worf now has not only no ship, but no place to go really, because he can't go back to the Empire, because now he's definitely a pariah, and remains a pariah pretty much through the rest of the series.
Until Martok changes that.
Yep, exactly.
And that you're right, it takes a while.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a beautiful episode when he does get it back.
Yes, definitely. It that was Soldiers of the Empire. Was that Soldier? Yeah, that was Soldiers of the Empire.
I actually didn't have time to rewatch that one, but I have fond memories of that one.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So I like what you say here, that he does really well anytime we need a Klingon centered storyline.
Yes, like when Kor shows up and he's desperate to die in battle, like because he's old and he's ready to go, but because Klingons don't want to die of old age; they want to die in battle so they can go to Stovacor. So Worf does the best he can for his friends, including Kor, and he had a difficult time seeing Kor that way, and seeing Kor, he was in. You remember that scene where he's actually commanding in battle, but he's gone back to TOS era and he's fighting the Federation, but they're not really fighting the Federation; they're really fighting the Dominion, and he gets confused.
Yeah,
and that's what.
Yeah, Worf has to knock him out to.
Yeah, and so Worf, he has to combine his Klingon self with his Starfleet strategy, and he creates a really great plan. But it's a suicide mission because they have to slow down the Dominion long enough for the Klingons to get to safety. So they have to use just one ship to slow down 10 ships.
Yeah.
And Worf doesn't waver though to sacrifice himself. He's fully ready to go and do it. But luckily for him, Kern wants it more and knocks him out.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
And goes and he succeeds. And that's a really great moment.
Yeah, definitely. Lord Thoth says, and that must be from that episode, I must have a Klingon soul. I want to die in battle, not in my bed. Hail, Lord Thoth. Welcome. So, yeah. Worf and Kor they really had a chemistry in that one, and where they went on the search for the Sword of Kahless. They did have a chemistry.
Oh, right, the search for the Kahless. They do find it too, the Sword of Kahless.
And then it drives both of them bananas.
Yeah, I wonder what it is about that sword that did that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hail
Mary McCheese.
It's like the Ring of Power or something.
Yeah. Because isn't that a takeoff of the Lord of the Rings, where the rings started bringing bad things to the wearer?
Yeah, right. It gives you power, but it also makes you obsessed. And so that's what the sword seems to be doing somehow. And who knows really what's going on there? Because they just toss it into space. Like, I guess. The quote I have here from that episode, Worf says, "The Empire is no one's puppet." He condemned Gowron's invasion of Cardassia, and Kor says, "And the invasion went ahead despite his objection." And Worf says, "That is why the Emperor needs the sword. It will allow him to unify the houses against Gowron." So that's why they wanted it.
Yeah. Yeah, so that the Emperor can get back his power. um, and hopefully, like you said, hopefully put the Empire back on the right track.
Hmm. But like you said, the sword, made them. They both feel like they're both destined to have it, so they can't
Mm-hmm.
decide which of them wants it, and so they almost. I think they almost. Worf almost lets Core just fall in one
Mm-hmm.
scene. That's not characteristic of him at all.
Yeah. And again, thank goodness Jodzia was there to
Right.
kick some Klingon tail and put them on the right path.
Yeah, they realized that sword was divided them so much that that a sword with that kind of power would have an even worse impact on the empire if
Yeah.
everybody has that reaction to it.
Mm-hmm.
But to
It,
me personally, it's just painful to see it just drift away like that.
yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, it probably would have made the next generation Civil War look like a schoolyard brawl, something like that, if it had that kind of power.
You're right. I kind of want to see that episode though.
Yeah. Um, then let's see. Then um, we had Worf losing his having to sacrifice his brother yet again, but I thought it was a rather cruel factor, in a cruel manner. I agree with what
Yeah.
you said. It to me it was very cruel the way they did it.
Oh, right. When we talk about when his brother is having to deal with the consequences of Worf having been dishonored and
Mm-hmm.
having lost all of his property and everything. And so um Kern doesn't feel like there's anywhere for him to go or anything for him to do except go through this ritual, this mock Tove war,
Mm-hmm.
where Worf has to um, kill him, um, to give him a release, I guess. And even that is just so sad on its own. Like he feels like he has nothing to live for
Mm-hmm.
because he can't do anything on Kronos anymore.
Right.
And Worf does it. He has this classic dilemma where he has to choose between the Klingon ritual or his human upbringing that would say something like that is a wrong thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
So in this case, Worf does choose to do it and carries it out, but they're found out and Kern is saved. So then Kern still has the original problem and came to the episode with.
Mm-hmm.
So the only other thing they can think of doing is to change his identity, give him a
Mm-hmm.
new lease on life. But in order to do that, they have to remove his memory
Yeah.
and replace his DNA. Like I don't understand that part. That I think when we go through it with Raquel, I'm gonna look at that a little more closely. They have
Yeah.
to.
And this isn't the first time they had to deal with Klingon suicide. Remember, because you had to deal with where Worf was crippled in Next Generation,
Oh right, his
and
back.
he was crippled, and he begged Riker uh, to kill him.
Hmm.
So this isn't the first time he's had to deal with this.
Except Riker wouldn't do it.
Yeah, Riker would not do it, but fortunately, he got better, and we still
Yeah,
have Worf.
yeah,
Worf.
we're lucky. Crusher finally figured out a way to save his spine.
Mm-hmm.
That are that was
Yeah.
good.
So we've and Worf has had a lot of good episodes throughout his run in Deep Space Nine. I like where he made the Defiant his home. instead of living on the station.
Yeah, because he was running into too much trouble.
Yeah, yeah. He was no longer a security officer.
Right. He
He had.
couldn't. Yeah, that's Odo's job.
Yep, that was Odo's job. Odo had to keep Quark in line. So, yeah, not to mention interesting facts about Klingon anatomy. That's true. We could talk. He definitely made an impact since once he got on, and we could
Yeah,
talk.
he makes an impact on just everything. You're right. We could talk about it. That's not even getting into all of the battles that he's in, on all the decisions he makes, and how he, like I said earlier, how he uses his Klingon strength and his scientific prowess together is just a joy to watch.
Yes, definitely. We're gonna go fast forward a bit to probably. I think this was the most defining part in the Klingon, or not the Klingon, but the Dominion Cold War, was when he and Garrick and those two. Oh my God, those two, Garrick and Worf. You gotta just admire the chemistry that those two have. At one point, Worf wants to tear his head off because he can't stand Garrick, but at the other point, he actually has respect for him. And I'm talking about the episode where they go into the Dominion territory to find Tane.
Right. Okay, Tane, who ends up being Garrick's father.
Yep. That was yet another secret that came out, and along there we have Bashir, who was kidnapped.
Right, and that was a surprise because we weren't even, that wasn't even part of the story. We thought Bashir was on the station. You see Bashir, and he seems totally fine.
Yeah.
You that was definitely a shock the first time I saw that.
Yeah. And yeah, that was definitely a shock. And he was the one who sabotaged the wormhole so that the wormhole's never going to be collapsed again.
Yeah, and if he succeeded, he would have destroyed the entire solar system too.
Yes.
If they had been able to stop him.
Yep. But Worf is trapped on a Jem'Hadar prison camp and finds who would he find? He would find Martok. So Martok is,
yes, sans his eye.
Yes, sans eye. Yeah. Snort. I think I agree with that totally. Snort.
I agree too.
Yeah.
The DS9 writers knew how to write for Worf, unlike the TNG writers. He finally got to be a kick-ass warrior. I think he did get better in TNG, but definitely the best in Deep Space Nine.
Yeah. It seemed like he was a better fit. He was a better fit when you based on the atmosphere that they're getting or that they're trying to put with Deep Space Nine, that it's a lot darker than Next Generation. And so who would be the best fit in that type of environment? You've got Worf. So yeah, they definitely knew how to write for him. Hail, hail, Stuart Mitchell. Welcome. Thank you for
Yeah.
coming. So, so Worf has to take on the Jem'Hadar, which he has before, but not
Not
all.
like this.
No, not like this. He holds his own, but
He does.
he does have
Yeah, he gets pretty beat up.
mm-hmm,
Because they just keep him going. Like he barely gets any breaks. He goes
mm-hmm,
back to the cell for a little bit and then comes back out. And
yeah,
Bashir patches him up a little and then he goes back out again.
yeah,
It's it's terrifying to watch because he's just getting worse and worse, but he doesn't back down.
no, no. And the Jem'Hadar's comment at the end, I think, is one of the defining things for Worf. He says, "I can't defeat this person. All I could do is kill him, and that no longer holds any meaning for me."
Yep, that doesn't interest him anymore.
Yeah,
So he
yeah,
can't win
yeah.
against Worf. He can only
Mm-hmm.
kill him.
Yep,
Yeah, that is an awesome moment.
yeah. And of course, the Jem'Hadar gets killed at that point.
What happens?
Yep. So, um, where shall we go from here? Because, as I said, we could talk probably the whole show about Worf, and I don't mind doing it. Because there's so many aspects to Worf that they bring out from in Deep Space Nine that I enjoyed. Um, the I think the next big thing was the relationship with Jodzia.
Right.
So that was what was it? As we told Julian, if it wasn't for Worf, you would have been it. And I think it was love at first sight. The, when she saw him clobber Martok's son.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that was. She said, "He's good." So yeah, definitely the start of a wonderful relationship. And in my opinion, um, given who he had, between Kaler and Jodzia, he oh god, I can't remember the he got a better he got a better choice than Counselor Obvious.
Oh no, yes, definitely.
Yes.
Jodzia actually cares about Klingon culture and
Mm-hmm.
knows how to handle a Klingon. I don't
Yep.
think Troy really makes any
No.
sense in that sense.
No. Troy
She
does
doesn't
not.
have.
Yeah. I mean, Kaler probably she should have. If Kaler would have lived, she probably would have been the uh, the one to handle Worf. But
Yeah, she would have been
unfortunately,
okay.
yeah.
But she would have been good. Okay. She worked.
Snort, 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 snort. Good.
So Snortopoopus in the chat says the episode we never got to see. Worf and Jadzia's wedding night. Worf reads Klingon poetry, and Jadzia throws heavy objects. And then the riotous snoo snoo.
Give that bear some more sushi.
Yes. Oh, and in the series. I think doesn't that happen in the episode where Quark um, has to fight another Klingon, but they connect these electrodes to Worf's head and no, wait, to Quark's head, and anytime Quark moves, it's from Worf's movement. So Quark's not really good at the bat'leth. He's just having his motions. He's just moving.
Was that in Looking for Parmach? Yeah, that was in Looking for Parmach at the wrong place.
Yeah,
in the
it's
wrong
like
places.
a remote control Quark.
Yeah, okay. And then that's where Jodzia and Worf.
Yeah, that's where I think that's the episode where they snoo the first time.
The snoo, yeah. And Julian has to repair the damage. Yeah. But yeah, it was very just watching the two of them interact again was just it seemed like Michael Dorn had chemistry with everybody in the series.
Yes. Yeah, he was one of those actors who everybody could get along with, and that, that he can work well with anyone, and he can bring out the best in others.
Yeah. So the only thing Worf couldn't do is be a father.
Yes, and I have a point on that one.
Go ahead.
So we get to see all of Worf's characteristics on display here. He wants to become a father again, even though he didn't have much success with Alexander. But there's this hidden scene in a not so great episode where Worf couldn't he's given the task of, or he takes on the task of putting Yoshi O'Brien to bed because Jodzia wants to go see this comet or something, and Worf wants her to be able to go do that. So he decides to take care of the baby, and he does all the things you normally do with the baby, and he just can't get the baby to bed. And whether we blame the writers or not, he did fail with Alexander. So even though I would have rather liked to see that relationship get better, the next best thing is seeing him determined to try again, determined to not give up, because that's part of his character is never giving up. And eventually he does connect with the baby. And I think he teaches him some kind of ritual that they do with babies with some kind of rattle. And I forget what it is, the gang or something that the baby repeats.
Oh, okay.
And it's really sweet. And it might have been neat it's just too bad things didn't work out.
Yeah. It seemed like next generation he wanted to just shunt Alexander away to Earth.
And that's what happens,
Yeah. But I'm glad that toward the end they finally made up. And then of course the writers just say, "Oh, he's going to be on another ship, and we're never going to see him again." But
the problem I have with that is that that's not what Alexander wanted to do. He just did it because he thought that's what Worf wanted from him. And so they never really got into the fact that that's not the path that Alexander truly wants. And so had they done that, I would have been a little happier. So they just needed maybe 1 or 2 more episodes.
Yeah. But at least he got to see.
Hmm.
He
But at
got to.
least they're talking again.
They're talking, and at least he was best man at Worf's wedding.
Right, right. Because he was just there for a week. And
Yeah,
so
he
they
was
moved the
just.
wedding up.
Yeah, they had to move the wedding up so that Alexander could attend the wedding, and that one that was a that was an amusing episode. I really liked that one. You had what the guys thought was a bachelor party that ended up utter torment.
Right.
Oh,
You think, use your imagination. What do you think a Klingon bachelor party would look like? Not that.
no, no. And then Jodzia has the bachelorette party.
Mhm. Yeah, that was fun with the guy with the fire.
Yeah, the Tongan fire dance, and watching Lita pay attention to everybody but Ram. You had Nog partying on. You had Quark complaining about the noise, and then Martok's wife comes in and just is the party pooper.
I know. She's just like she wants Jodzia to follow all the rituals perfectly, like even more perfect than an actual Klingon would have to go through. Like I'm sure she's not that hard on her others if she had anyone else she did this for.
Yeah,
But Jodzia doesn't give up, so she makes it through.
John Rendell says no, just no to Klingon strippers. Yeah, I don't think Lorsa and Beitor would have made good strippers.
The Jara sisters.
Yeah, the Klingon Karen. Yeah,
The Klingon Karen, yes, that's exactly what she is.
yeah, that.
So
Yeah, yeah. She definitely.
she made her work for it.
Yeah, definitely. And then gets cold and gets smacked with by her. So, and what was funny throughout the entire, not just this episode, but during during their entire engagement, just seeing that Worf had to be the one to pick he had to do all the wedding arrangements, and nothing Jodzia did was right.
Right.
And then hail, son of a red shirt. Welcome. Yes,
Well,
we're having a great time.
What happened there is that, oh yeah, son of a red shirt. Hi.
And Mark's 47.
Hello, Mark's 47.
Yes. We're talking Worf. And that's always a good subject to have or to talk about. But yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, Joe.
Oh, well, I was reading what Mark's 47 said.
Yeah.
She got out of the airlock and insulted her husband's weight and hair immediately. I don't think she's going to hold back criticism on anyone. That's exactly right. That's exactly what it was.
Exactly.
And what you were saying about Jodzia not being able to plan the wedding, I loved that role reversal, because Jodzia had been through so many marriages, and she basically said, "I've had so many trill weddings, I'm kind of bored of it." So
yeah,
so that's why she lets Worf plan everything.
You'll do your wedding your way. I'll do my wedding my way, and points to Worf. That was that. And it really, at that time when the Federation is really getting it, Starfleet's really getting the clock clean. Oh, that added some humor, needed humor.
Yeah, the war ramping up, the war's getting worse, and everything looks terrible. So a wedding is just what you need to lighten the mood.
Yes. Agreed. Um, so, and Snort is definitely I like John Randall's.
Oh, right. Sorapupus says it sounds like a song for Doomcock. And so what do
Yeah,
we do
with a
with
Klingon, Karen. What do we do? You stay away from said Klingon, Karen. Hey, Sandra, you want to transcribe this and maybe send it to Doomcock? I'm getting a dirty stare. Oh, she's
I
actually
would like
saying Sandra says suggested to him.
I would like that. That would be nice to have a song about an episode of Star Trek that we like rather
Yeah,
than only about,
the filth. Yes,
the filth and stuff.
yes. So,
Because, we got to remind the audience some people who don't know Star Trek yet,
exactly.
and we might, I'm always looking to find new Star Trek fans.
Oh, definitely. They're out there. They just gotta be shown the way. Shown the way. So we've got Worf and Worf and Jodzia together. Um, they the probably one of the better Jodzia Worf things was where they went. I forgot the episode's name. You'll probably where they went to help that Klingon or Cardassian agent try and escape, and so they go together on the mission to try and save him, and she gets wounded.
Yes. Yes, I know which episode you're talking about. Yeah, they're talking about their honeymoon, right?
Yeah.
And they want to and she wants somewhere where she can be waited on and not going through a trial.
Yeah.
But they end up having to go through a trial, and that ends up being their honeymoon episode, is going through a really terrible trial, trying to save this Cardassian.
Yeah.
And right, I don't remember the name of the episode either.
Was that Treachery, Faith? No, it wasn't that one. I was thinking it was tied in with Nog helping Chief O'Brien get some get a gravity emitter for the Defiant.
Oh, that's another good one though too, but that one doesn't really have much any Worf in it.
Yeah, that was a Nog / Odo part or AB.
Mm-hmm. And O'Brien.
And O'Brien, yes. Yeah, I think this was a standalone with Jodzia and Worf. That episode where they go to save the Cardassian, but then he decides that he's got to save his wife after she's badly wounded.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, instead of saving the Cardassian, so he ends up perishing. But his information could have turned the tide of the war, and so that's what Worf gets in trouble for after that.
Yeah. Let's see the episodes that we
and even though Cisco does reprimand him for it, he says if that would have happened with Jennifer, he would have done the same thing.
Oh yeah, definitely. Okay, change of heart. Yeah, I knew it. So, and then Worf has to deal with Jodzia's, I think, meaningless death. I mean,
Yeah,
that made me angry.
right. And they were building up that they were going to start a family.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what she goes to the temple for, too, is that she's actually going to pray to the prophets.
Mm-hmm.
But
And
it wasn't the prophets that were there, it was the Power Wraith
mm-hmm.
that show up.
Yep, Dukat shows up and kills Jodzia.
Kills Jodzia, yeah. And he's even like, I didn't really mean for you to get hurt. I mean, and this is Gul Dukat here.
Mm-hmm.
So even he thinks it was pointless.
Yeah. I thought that after seeing that, they really should have gone into Worf have a vengeance, go on a quest for vengeance to avenge himself.
Right. You're right. That would have been the right way to go there, because Gul Dukat's allowed to go on his side crazy religious adventure and nobody bothers him ever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he does, and Dukat does things like messes with Kira for the umpteenth time.
Mm-hmm.
And Hail, son of a red shirt. Oh, we got a lot of Trekkies here.
Hail, son of a red shirt.
So, yeah, he's allowed to do, we know his motives when from Waltz, but I really think it shouldn't have been Cisco lucky to kill him, but it should have been Worf that took out Dukat. In my mind, he should have been the one.
Yeah, it was a good scene for Cisco to bring him down in the fire, but you're right. It might have been more satisfactory to see Worf take him out.
Mm-hmm. And then in between these episodes, we've got Worf doing guest stints on. I call him guest stints because he's the primary act. He's one of the cast of Deep Space Nine. When he went to the other three roles in the Next Generation movies, I considered him a guest star. Because and they could have wrote better roles for Worf in Next Generation.
Sure, they could have. He was. I did like him in Redemption, the one we just talked about on Saturday Night Star Trek.
Oh yeah.
So they do a few good stuff, but definitely gets better in Deep Space Nine.
Yeah. Well, but it does bring up one of the great Worf quotes in First Contact, where he goes to Picard. If you were any other man, I'd kill you where you stand. And then I equate that to one of Esri's Worf quotes in Deep Space Nine, where Cisco wants to have a talk with Worf about the Esri Dax relationship, and she says, "No, you can't." And Cisco says, "Why?" "Because you intimidate him."
And Cisco gets his biggest grin. He doesn't really say anything.
Yeah. And this from the only guy in the universe who could punch Q. I could see that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So. The only guy who can punch a god, who basically to the Bajorans is like a god, almost himself. A god himself.
Yeah. So, but yeah, Worf was definitely better suited for. He got written better in Next Generation. He hit his stride in Deep Space Nine, and the movies they dropped the ball. I continue to think they dropped the ball his parts in the movies. Although assimilate this is a pretty good quote as well.
That is a good quote. Well, Worf has lots of good quotes.
Oh yeah. I am not a merry man.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Snorter Poopus has a good quote, has a good comment here. This is a 3 sushi one. It was so good seeing DS9 write good episodes for female characters and then to lose one of them. I didn't dislike Ezri, but her character only had one season to grow. So very true,
Right.
Snort.
It took
So
that
very-
entire season almost.
Yeah.
To really get to know Ezri and
Yeah.
just as soon as you're ready for more Ezri, the series is over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But they did do I did enjoy when they, when she had a big part, because at least they had the template. Because really,
well, yeah, they worked on her. They didn't just bring her in just to be there. Oh, here's
she
the
wasn't
new
a
Dax.
placeholder.
No, she wasn't.
She was going to be a definite part of this of the Swan Song series, and she did very, very well. And some of
I like.
Yeah, I agree with Marks on this one. Yeah. He says no way Patrick Stewart was going to waste good material or time on Worf in the movies once he got story input. Got to swing from that ceiling and get that dune buggy. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, Patrick Stewart always wanted action and
yeah,
to be anything but Picard.
Mm-hmm. He wanted to be the action figure. But I am sorry. I've said this from the very beginning. Patrick Stewart, when we started Next Generation, all I could see when I saw Patrick Stewart at the very beginning was Gurney Halleck in the original Dune movie, and he did not do well at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the horsies in Generation. Oh, yes, definitely. Horsies in Generation were pretty. So the one before we leave the Jodzia side, I do got to say the one episode I thought was cute was, and granted, Worf wasn't a lot in it, but you could see a lot of Jodzia integration, even though they weren't together, was the one little ship. I love that episode.
Wait, is that the one where they go through an anomaly and the runabout goes tiny?
Yeah.
And tiny. Yeah, that is a fun one. That one is just, it's like Saturday morning cartoon, but serious.
Yeah, that would explain it. But yeah, and then but it did have some fun Worf stuff in it. There was a little ship that made a little trip.
Oh yeah, he's like Jodzia.
He's got to do a poem.
Yeah. Jodzia wants to hear his poem.
Uh-huh.
And she thinks he seriously wrote that, and so she's trying to be nice about it, and then he's like, he wasn't being serious. That was.
Yeah. It's like, and you don't have a sense of humor.
And that's the thing Worf always did make. That's another thing about Worf, is that he always did make the scenes funnier because he always had a great deadpan sense of humor.
Exactly. Yes, he did. And then there's other things about the lore, like we never heard about Klingon opera until until he got to DS9.
Hmm.
I never heard of Klingon opera in Next Generation.
Oh, and that's a sweet thing that Jodzia does for him is she gives him Klingon opera as gift, which is a really well thought out gift.
Yeah. And then when they're ready to go go to search for Tane, she says, "I want the opera. I'm not. You go and die if you want, but I want the opera."
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, maybe I'm wrong. TNG had Klingon opera and reunification. I'm gonna have to watch that episode.
Oh, which episode is that?
That was when they went for Spock. They on the Romulan home.
Oh, right, Spock. Yes. Okay, that's great.
Yeah. So, okay. I stand corrected, Marks. But they really went into it in Deep Space.
Yeah, I think you actually get to hear Klingon opera in Deep Space.
Yes. Yeah. And then, that's right. Okay, that's when they were. Okay, all right. They were at the bar. They were at the bar waiting for the fat Ferengi. I remember that now. My memory is jarred. Thank you, Marks.
And there's that moment where Ezri saves Worf from an escape pod, and she asks him what he was doing all that time in the escape pod. Were you singing Klingon opera? And he's like, no. But then he has to admit that, yeah, he was.
Yeah. Wasn't it? He was doing it there because it had good acoustics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like you said, it had good acoustics.
Yeah.
The acoustics were favorable.
Yes. I also like where they where Worf, right after Jodzia dies, Worf he's in, I guess, what Klingons would have as a funk because Jodzia wasn't going to Tovakor.
Yes, that was it. Yeah, he was mourning for her, and that mourning was lasting so long because he was upset she didn't make it in Tovakor.
Right, because the death was meaningless, so they they all had to go on a dangerous mission to.
Yeah, I loved how they planned to go on this mission and how Julian says he's going to do this, and then O'Brien says, if you're going, I gotta go. And it's just a beautiful moment. And then you're on the ship, and then there's Quark too.
Yep.
And so all of these people who love Jodzia get together to do a mission worthy of getting Jodzia
into Tovakor. Now, technically, if I remember right, wasn't Quark still part of a Klingon house, so he had every right to be there as well?
Right, he is a part of a Klingon house because he helped this Klingon woman get back her property and her lands and stuff.
Yeah,
and so because he used his Ferengi nature to help.
Yeah,
Klingon.
And if I remember right, he was never kicked out of the house. He was still part of the. It's amazing what you can think of when you actually look into episodes like we do, and because that just came to me. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's good memory on your part.
Yeah, but even though they were divorced, he would still be part of the. He could conceivably still be part of the house, couldn't he, Marks? 47. Of course, I don't know all
That's
that
true. I don't know
about.
Klingon law on that
Yeah,
in
I
that
don't know
regard.
about Klingon law.
Groka
Uh,
had been given control of her
okay.
house,
Okay.
so no, I don't think
Okay.
Quark was still in.
Phooey. So much for my theory.
Mm. That was a good one though. Well,
Yeah, it was.
but he still had to show a lot of Klingon
No,
faith
yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Both in that episode and in the one where he goes is in love with the Klingon. So
Hmm.
Quark does have his moments where he
Yes,
shows
he
that
does.
he has the heart of a Klingon sometimes.
Yeah.
Even though he'll still hide behind a rock also some other
Oh
times.
yeah. Oh yeah. So there they are doing the mission, and they they uh they complete the mission. She goes to Stovacor.
Yeah, they had to fly by the sun really close.
Hmm. Close enough to that they
That they
were.
make a mass ejection, a coronal mass ejection big enough
Hmm.
that it can so that it could destroy the Monarch shipyard.
Yep. Yeah. And it was so hot that they couldn't even touch their panels anymore, which that's a little bit of a I think that's a little bit of suspension of reality.
Hmm. I agree,
Um,
but they
so
do make it. Mm.
yeah, they definitely made it.
And they do all those Jem'Hadar ships.
Hmm. Yeah,
And if that doesn't get you into Stovacor, I don't really know what else
yeah,
would.
yeah. That's I agree. If that had to get her into Stovacor, um, and then he comes back to the station. Look, man, look who he sees. As we going, we gotta talk. And Worf, not sure how he wants to handle it.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, he really doesn't. He doesn't want to handle it at this point. Mm.
mhm. but you would think that he had in his mind what Jodzia said about them not wanting Trill's wanting to move on.
Right. Right. He knows already trail culture that he doesn't have to be in a relationship with the next trail. In fact, that's
Mhm.
something that's basically forbidden. If Esri actually did pursue this relationship, she'd be excommunicated from
Right,
Trill.
right. But
And
of
that
course, she didn't go through the training.
right, she didn't go through the training, so
She
maybe
got a
she's not
book.
bound by it.
Yeah, she got a book. She was one of the over half that could
And a,
take a
a
symbiont.
15 yeah, a 15-minute speech. Well, that's still supposed to be a secret that half the entire population is able to have
Hmm.
a symbiote
Yeah,
because they don't have enough symbiotes for everybody.
exactly, exactly. Um, and come on, if the Decker unit could get a symbiont, Esri could get one.
Honestly, the number is higher than half
Yeah,
if the Decker unit can do it.
exactly, exactly. Snorter says, when you think about it, the biggest difference between DS9 and TNG isn't the setting. It's that the characters in DS9 form deep friendships despite having serious differences and backgrounds. So true.
I agree
So true.
completely.
Yeah. And that's what we talked about in the first episode. First, our first discussion is the character development was a major factor in the success of this show.
That's true. That's what I noticed. TNG was more about what strange thing are we going to encounter this week. So it was more
Mm-hmm.
on the science fiction side,
Mm-hmm.
and Deep Space Nine is more on the character side, but still
Yeah,
with plenty of that science interwoven with it.
exactly. Yeah. Um, so So yeah, they that the relationships were great in it. Um, and then we had was core episode. The core episode was in the final season.
Yes,
Okay,
I think so.
yeah, yeah, because Jodzia had already gone, and excuse me. So yeah, that was a. We talked about that earlier before we got started. That core, the way core core decided to make the greater challenge, and the thing about that too is that Martok really detested core. He absolutely
Yeah,
because
and Core didn't even know why.
yeah, yeah, all those that core told him that he wasn't eligible to go into the academy because
Hmm.
he was from the Ketha lowlands.
Yeah,
So
he
he was
didn't. Martok doesn't have noble bloodline,
right. Yeah.
but
Um,
Core doesn't even remember doing it. It was just
right.
something he just did offhand and doesn't even remember.
Yeah.
And Martok just, held this hatred with him this whole
Hmm.
time.
Yeah. And that would have been even a bigger indignity knowing that the person didn't even remember that he denied Martok from the.
Yeah, he's just like, "Oh, I did. I guess I did."
Mhm. Yeah. So, but that one was a
And then
very. And then
yeah,
you
because
have
Martok
Worf.
had to work. He had to work. He had to work as a civilian laborer,
Hmm.
and um, then he got lucky when the
Hmm.
Romulans came to battle, and then he was able to prove that he was worthy
Hmm.
that way.
Yep. And ended up with a house of his own. And you see again Worf, even though he's dishonored, he has. Well, no, he's not dishonored because now he's in the
Yeah,
house of Martok, but you could still show that Worf is very much a political animal in the Klingon Empire.
right, right. Yeah, he's got a house now, but he's still working his way through.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep. Which brings me to my next quote, which I think really, really, really says it all about Worf. The situation is Gowron's decided he wants all the glory, he wants all the power. And if it has to come with over Martok's dead body, oh well, so be it. Um, and
right. He puts Martok through all these missions, these basically near suicide missions
mhm,
to try to discredit Martok's
right,
victory.
right. And at the same time, he's putting the entire war at stake because these stupid missions are um, killing the posture, the defense posture.
Yeah, and they're losing ships for no reason.
Hmm. Right. So Worf is
Oh,
yeah.
and that's where Ezri gives Worf that speech. Before
Hmm.
that,
Yep. Because Martok won't. Martok refuses to challenge Gowron when both of them know that that's the only way it's going to stop Gowron on this suicidal path, which could destroy the Empire.
yeah. Do you know why Martok won't do that? I missed that part.
He won't do it because to challenge he says it himself, to challenge a chancellor in time of war is treason. So it's not because it's a time of war, he can't, he can't challenge the leadership.
But guess you can.
Mm-hmm.
And so Esri tells Worf, if someone, that you're the most honorable and decent man I've ever met. And if you're willing to tolerate a man like Gowron, then what hope is there for the Empire?
Right. And that says it all for every time Worf had to compromise himself to say for the glory of the Empire. We saw that in Next Generation. And then we saw it, we saw at the very beginning at his when he in the Way of the Warrior. And now
he took other people's dishonor as his own for the good of the Empire.
Right.
And she calls him out on that.
Yeah. And then so then he comes and does, and he comes in and challenges Gowron.
And that's just a really good scene too. If you watch that one, you can just watch that.
And if you watch it, he, in my mind, seeing the battle, Worf was perfectly capable of handing him his head at the very beginning. Literally, he could have killed him right off. You
think he held back?
Yes, I do. I think he held back enough to give Gowron enough face so that when he took him out, that Gowron still had face. I think he held back.
I think you're definitely probably right. That makes sense to me. That is really, because if he completely, utterly defeated him, then that would have disgraced Gowron, and he didn't want to do that.
Right. And how much?
I believe you.
And how many of that war council there would have respected Worf if he just out and murdered Gowron instead of letting Gowron do his, hold his own up until the very end. I like Mark's statement here. I've seen people suggest that even Sisko was subtly influencing Martok to do away with Gowron no matter what. Yeah, I would agree with that premise.
Oh, and the next one, okay, Snortopoopas is completely correct here also.
Yeah, I'm going to put it
up. Also, if Martok challenged Gowron and won, he would become Chancellor. And I think Martok at that point just wanted to be a general and lead the fleet to victory. And that leads into exactly what happens after Worf defeats Gowron. They hail Worf leader of the Empire, but Worf doesn't want that. And so he gives it to Martok, and Martok's like, I do not seek leadership. So Snortopoopas is correct there. But Worf says, great men do not seek power. They have power thrust upon them.
Yeah. Yep. And as you see in the later episode, or in what you leave behind, Martok was on the ship. He was not a stand behind.
He never would be.
Yeah. He was there, Chancellor of the Klingon Empire, fighting on board a ship.
Yeah, he's just like Sisko. He wants to be in the battle, and so does Sisko. He won't. The one time when Sisko is forced to be with the admiral, and you know it's wrong. It's wrong for him to be sitting there just planning the war. He's the warrior.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And that's one thing. Gowron stayed behind and let others do his battle. He was a politician. So yeah. So Worf was definitely a big part of the success of Deep Space Nine, but again, he did it because there were others that were he had the chemistry with. He couldn't do it alone. He was able to. He did it with Michael Dorn's chemistry with the other members of the cast.
And that cast loved each other when you watched that documentary.
Yeah, definitely. I like the one comment you made in your show notes about the when they did the "Take Me Out to the Holosuite."
Oh yeah.
When when Worf said "Death to our enemies," it's a baseball game.
Death to the opposition.
Opposition, death to the opposition. Yeah.
Yes, that was a good one.
Yeah.
That's the only note I took while I was watching that episode. It's a really great episode. That's the kind of episode you just want to sit back and just have fun with it, and it really was.
And
it was really great.
I'm trying to walk back. He was from Earth, but he was from Minsk, so he probably didn't know much about baseball, other than what Cisco showed. Cisco when Cisco took him to a game.
Yeah, Cisco took everybody to a game. It is said at one point or another, so they all know what it is. But they take those. They have a couple weeks where they're practicing, so they all have to. They all learn baseball and they learn all the techniques and they're reading it, trying to understand the jargon.
Yeah.
And it's great to see them come together as a team doing something besides killing.
Yeah, that's another one where you needed to get that break from all that death and destruction. I expected that we were going to go a long way with Worf, and I don't know if we've got enough time to really go into the other things.
We did. We spent a lot of time on Worf.
Well, he is a presence. Yeah, we could spend a lot more time. He was a presence.
Yeah, he's always been a favorite character of mine, but I've never really examined him this closely, and he really does show himself in every scene he's in. He steals the show.
Yeah, definitely.
And we were supposed to talk more about the Dominion War.
And... Well, we've got things to whet the chat's whistle or appetite.
And we didn't get to the What We Left Behind either.
Yeah, the What We Left Behind, the season 8 episode. Which I thought their premise was good.
I think so too. It needed a little work, but for just working for a few hours, those guys really knew how to make Star Trek.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to have to check on something real quick.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
All right. I will. Okay, chat. What do you guys think of how we've dissected Worf? Not literally, but figuratively. That's true. The logicians. Do they eat Cracker Jack? Does the Vulcan baseball fans eat Cracker Jacks? I would have loved to have heard who would have done the 7th inning stretch song. Who could have done Take Me Out to the Ball Game? Um, while we're waiting on Jill, I'm just going to put one last plug for the 100 subscriber raffle, and the I'm having a raffle to celebrate my hitting 100 subscribers. Um, and today's the last day you could put in names if you want to take part of the raffle, because tomorrow or Friday I will pull the names and make the announcement on the stream on the 22nd, which is this coming Saturday. So if you haven't, please put your name out there.
Out where? So
Put your name in the either tweet me. Sandra will put the email out to send an email to.
am I in that raffle yet? I need to do that if I haven't.
I'll put you in.
Okay, thanks.
And the prizes are, I gotta pull my show notes. The prizes are an autographed copy of both my books, All's Fair and Peacemaker, if you have them, and whether they're autographed or you don't want autographed copies, you can either get a cup or a shirt. We'll decide that once we pick the name. The second prize, so there are two prizes, and the second prize will be autographed copies of my first book, All's Fair. So
awesome.
Yes. So again, I've got yours in, Jill. I'll put your name in the raffle.
That's pretty cool.
And so anybody else who has not, please send an email, or if you've got my Twitter, you could tweet me.
So are you going to announce the winner to the raffle on Jessica's episode?
Yes. And if you are not there, I'll just contact you. But yeah, it's going to be, the announcement will be made on the Just Cuz.
It's neat.
Yeah. It's just a little way of me thanking you guys for helping this channel at least make its first milestone. Hopefully we can get through some other milestones, but this is just a start. We got to do baby steps, and as Sandra says, we're small but mighty. We're a small but mighty channel. I like feisty too. We're a small but feisty channel. So
I agree completely. I've enjoyed all of your episodes.
Thank you.
They're really
Jill.
very good.
Thank you, Jill. There's gonna be some really good ones coming up in February. I've already got February, March started. February's already booked. We've got PJ. Well, the Just Cuz, obviously, that's coming up this Saturday. We're going to have Baron Orman Tag, the amazing Fet for Hire, creator of all my graphics. Thank you, Fet. Go to his channel and subscribe to him. He is amazing.
Yes, his creativity is boundless.
Yes, definitely. I could give him an idea, just a 3-word idea, and 10 minutes. I've already got his creation. He is that good. So
there was a pop culture breakdown where Gary Ambrosia does a mind meld, and I kind of want to see some ears on Gary.
Remind me about that. On Saturday. I'll bet you $1 to a donut we will have something.
Yeah,
by the
I
time
just
that
need to
show's over.
remember.
Yeah.
I just need to remember which episode that was. But yeah.
Okay. So we've got Fed for Hire. We've got Fez for Hire, otherwise known as John Rendell. He will be there. And we have the amazing Wendy Webb. I've asked them, if possible, to come up with top fives because Wendy's top five was amazing. And so she suggested that we have the entire panel come up with top fives. And I think we ought to open it up. What do you think, Jill? Should we open it up to the chat too to come up with some top fives?
Some top fives for
Whatever. Top fives for whatever.
for top five for anything, any subject.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Like any TV or movie or what?
Yeah. Yeah. This is a just cause.
Yeah, that would be cool. Oh,
Yeah.
just because. Oh, well, top five in any subject. It doesn't have to
Exactly.
be.
Yeah.
It could be top
Yeah. It
five
could be
anything.
Yep, top five anything. I think that would be a great idea going to the doing with the chat besides the panel. I think and so
Yeah, that could be really fun, especially if someone picks something besides pop culture. I'd love to see their top five,
yeah. Well,
sealed recipes according to
top
Snort.
five. Yeah, Snort. Yes. Well, what would
Yeah, exactly.
because hail Brett Cohen. Thanks for coming. Because Wendy Webb's was amazing. If you heard when you heard the top five things you never say in surgery, that was funny. So if anybody hasn't heard that yet, go back to the one with Wendy Webb and look up the top five things you never say in surgery. So, but yeah.
That's a good idea. I like it.
Yeah. So top five from the panel and top five from the chat. And we will read all your top fives on Just Cause on this Saturday. Other people that will be coming, more mayhem for King Dolphin TV. We will have PJ from Orville Nation on next Wednesday. He's going to give us a Orville 101, getting us all set for the upcoming season of the Orville. We've got February 2nd, we're going to have possibly Maria from T and Telly. We're going to have on the 9th, Nick Weiser, 32 Flavors of Nick Weiser coming by. On the 16th, it's going to be a special episode. It's going to be a woman pilot roundtable. We've got 4 female pilots that will be joining us, and we will be doing a roundtable. Both questions from me and questions from the chat. I am looking forward to that one. It's always fun to bring female pilots to a discussion.
As long as they're not Deanna Troy.
No, none of them are Deanna Troy. We've got other things that are going to be coming up. We're going to have Agent Pepsi 1, possibly on the 23rd. Later on in March, we're going to have someone from For Paul's Protection. It's a group that provides support for canine police dogs, and they support them. And then, if you remember the bunny episode with Bethany Ambrosia, she'll be coming back to give us a tour of her new location.
All right, bunnies and puppies.
Yes, bunnies and puppies is always a good thing to have on King Dolphin TV. And we'll probably have some Just Causes out there. And of course, Jill, you and I will continue our discussion on DS9. We'll start. What the?
I'm sorry, that was my phone.
John Rendell says he's enjoyed it. It was a good. This was a good look into Worf, and it's been a long time for him since he's seen any of Deep Space Nine or TNG. Okay. And so yes, Jill, we will have to continue this.
Oh, I have no problem continuing this.
Okay, good. We've got enough notes. We haven't even touched the surface of what we discussed, what we were planning on discussing tonight. But Worf is definitely a presence.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you did a fantastic job bringing up all the episodes, and jogging my memory and what happened during.
Now I have got a treat, guys, to take this to end this. I want to show you. I've had this for a long time, and I think it'd be a great way to start winding it down.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. What do you think, guys?
It's so beautiful.
Yeah. And I don't know what happened, but I did have it. It did come with an Enterprise. Hey, Scuba Pete, welcome aboard. I can't do it as well as Raquel, but welcome. Glad you can make it. But, yeah, there it is. I have had this for a long time. I'll tell you, Playmates did some awesome Star Trek models.
Yeah, maybe next time we can have it lit up.
Yeah, I got to get the batteries. I'm going to work on getting the batteries replaced in it. So, yes,
hello,
welcome,
Scuba Pete.
Yes, Scuba Pete. So Jill, you're going to be on the. Where all are we going to see you? We're going to see you on the Saturday night as our communications officer.
Yep, Saturday night Star Trek. You'll see me there, and I always do my reviews for. Well, we'll do that this Saturday, and I won't be on the show, but I'll be in the chat.
Okay.
And I'll be on the show. I guess now Clobby's going to allow me to be on the show whenever we do a series review. Yeah. So that's going to be really fun.
Yeah. Yeah, you're on with Mark B with the C.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, as soon as we can figure out a time to come on here, and we'll continue our chatting and having fun. Snort.
Yeah, I didn't realize how much fun that would be to just sit there and talk about Worf for almost 2 hours. Mm-hmm. That was way more fun than I thought.
Yeah. And we haven't even touched a lot of things, and I'm probably gonna come up with things right after here what we can talk about on it too. Deep Space Nine is definitely a worthy successor to the original series, and definitely better than the filth.
Oh, of course it is. Even that goes to show you that you can go dark with Star Trek, but still keep the hope and optimism, still have Starfleet values.
Yes.
And and still be Star Trek. And
definitely.
So the filth doesn't have any excuses, and still ask questions about the kind of questions that they want to ask, but in a way that doesn't shame anybody.
Mm-hmm. Yes, true. So, but yes, we'll come back. You'll get another DS9 chat from Antiderivative Jill and myself, and we will have fun.
My cats fell.
Oh yes, I love that back screen with the original City series kitty cats. We got Spot Cat. We got let's see. Okay, we got Spock cat, we got McCoy cat.
Yeah, and there's a Hura right here.
Oh, that's a Hura?
I think
Okay.
so.
All right. We got Kirk Kitty.
Kirk, yeah.
Yep.
Kirk.
We got Sulu. We got Scotty. That is so cool. Star Trek. Yes, John Randall. Star Trek cats.
Yep.
Very cool. Okay, well, everybody, we have had a great time. You guys have had some fantastic questions, fantastic comments. I think Snorterpoopus has gotten a 6 sushi comment out there. And
Agree.
yeah. Oh, yep. Okay, this is a 7 sushi one. There's a 7 sushi.
Yes, the worst episode of Star Trek is infinitely better than the best of the filth. Which
Exactly.
I've never heard of the best of the filth before.
No, there is no best of the filth.
Hmm.
There is no best of the filth.
I haven't considered it.
Yeah. Heck, the worst fanfic is better than the best of the filth. Did you ever check that? Did you check?
Oh, right. The no, I didn't, but I'll do that. I'll do that soon. I'll check it out.
Okay.
It did sound good. The Andromeda one, right?
Odyssey. It's called Star Trek Odyssey. And it's all part of this big Hidden Frontier series. It's so it's a good series. Cheesy special effects, but the writing was very well done.
That reminds me of the Dominion War that we didn't get into, the Odyssey.
Yeah.
The first big casualty.
Yep. Well, let's see. I'm going to say adios to everybody. Raquel saying crap, crap, crap. All right, so we've everybody, please join us on a Just Cause next this coming Saturday. It's going to be fun. Have your top 5 ready to go. So good night to Legatus Legionii, our gate opener. He's always here ready to go. First thing with a hail and a how do. John Randall, Fez for Hire. Can't wait to hear yours on Saturday. Captain Spire, welcome. This was his first time here. So thank you. And welcome aboard. Hope you enjoyed yourself. The great, the fantastic, the sushi eating, Snorterpoopus Cuber. Thank you. And thank you for all your insights and comments. Yes, please give Snort some chin scritchies. Andy Masterson, thank you for showing up here and hope you enjoyed yourself. Lord Thoth, long live the Legion. Avon lives. I said it backwards, I know. Thanks for coming. Mayor McCheese, great to have you here.
Also
Son of a red shirt. Say that again, Joe? Sorry.
Oh, also known as Matt G.
Oh, okay. Yes, Matt G, son of a Mayor McCheese, thanks for coming. Son of a red shirt, thanks for coming. Change your command, or change your branch of service. Red shirts kind of have low life expectancies. Marks 47, thank you. Hope you can catch if you didn't hear the whole thing, hope you can catch it on the replay. Scuba P, thanks for coming. And yes, I can hear Raquel saying crap, crap, crap. Or bringing out the Claboni.
Or her raspberries.
Oh, yes, raspberries. And Brett Cohen, thank you for coming and enjoyed your time here. And of course, what chat would be complete without me saying thank you and I love you to the amazing Sandra Feliciano, my better half, the one who keeps me out of trouble off the streets and helps to keep this channel fun and safe. Love you, babe. And again, thanks, Jill, for coming. I had a great time. This was a fantastic time. Best 2 hours in YouTube.
Yes, I had a ton of fun.
Yes, definitely. So, everybody, have a great night. Have a great rest of the week and see you on Saturday. Let's continue to make some waves. Hold on a second.